Hey Pokefans, Alex here. In the last episode, we tried to do a lot. I mean, we enveloped ourselves in the library, learning about Sinnoh's mythology, but then we heard a galactic bomb go off, so we had to investigate, beat a couple of commanders, and you know, I really earnestly tried to get my fifth team member. Just didn't happen, unfortunately. So, we're gonna rectify that situation by going to Mount Coronet right now. Some galactic grunts were blocking the way, which really paints a picture about one of the only cons that I've been able to discover about Pokemon Platinum, and it's been fairly recent. They really force you in a certain direction, and I understand it's kind of a kid's game. The ideal is like, they might not have any idea of what they're doing, but in Pokemon Fire Red, I mean, you had 2 or 3 gyms that you could essentially do in either order. And I just don't understand why that was not a game mechanic in this one. So, yeah, I'm not gonna waste any more time. We're just gonna do it. I'm essentially going to tell you how to capture this Pokemon. Like I said, it is gonna be a water type. It's a water type that technically I believe we might have encountered it once, but I didn't really emphasize or highlight it that much, so yeah, let's throw down a max repel. 10 should be more than enough, and we're unfortunately not going to be able to advance to Snow Point City because there's just so much to do with this particular Pokemon, as well as I'm going to need a mental and physical break after catching it. You'll understand why in just a minute. Okay, so don't really know why I'm on my bike, but you know, I just like the idea of being on a bike and just like hitting the boulder up front. I don't really know how that works, but you can see the galactic grunts are gone, and as we try to descend into the basement of Mount Coronet, you will see the fog. Thankfully, I have a Pokemon that knows defog. Surprisingly coming in handy. Okay. Let's see what treasure trove awaits us. An Ultra Ball. Yay! That's not good enough. We get a green shard as well. Okay. Now, before actually explaining how to capture this Pokemon, I just have to kind of give you an idea of the rounds that we're making. First of all, we get a light clay, not terribly bad. I think light clay extends the duration of moves like Reflect and Light Screen. We get a max elixir. Okay, so technically I lied. An elixir doesn't restore all the PP of all of your moves. It restores them by 10 PP. But a max elixir obviously does a little bit more than that. So I just want to see. Yeah, sometimes these rocks, well, in other games, if you smash them, you could potentially run into wild Pokemon, like in not X and Y, Black and White. Okay, so now that the repel wore off, I have to kind of explain how to capture this Pokemon. Okay, so you saw the vastness of the lake, okay? Now, this Pokemon essentially can only be obtained with either a good or a super. I believe an old rod could work as well, but let's just say good or super rod. What you are going to have to do is you are going to have to fish in every single one of these spots until you encounter the Pokemon in question. And since we're using a good rod, and there are other Pokemon other than the one I'm aiming for, like this Magikarp, statistically speaking, it would benefit you to do it twice in every single one of these spots. Now, at least there's no fog. However, we're going to do it twice in all of these little spots until we encounter the Pokemon in question. The Pokemon can be found in 4 of those spots. And I define a spot as anywhere that you can move your character. So like, for example, that was one spot. I'm about to show you another spot. Ready? That's another spot. There are 4 of them in this entirety of that lake that this Pokemon resides in. And what's even worse is that those 4 spots are seemingly random and they change every day. Yeah, this is probably one of the rarest Pokemon you could encounter. If I were making a list, Munchlax would probably be at the very top because it's 1% encounter rate on random honey trees, but this Pokemon would definitely be, yeah. Now, obviously, I am not going to show you every single one of these squares leading up to this Pokemon, but I just kind of want you to know my struggle with this. I have gotten this Pokemon before. It's a very special Pokemon. I feel like after you catch it, you're just invested. You just have to keep it on your team because it's that rare. But I don't really have any more to say on this. I am literally going to keep doing this until I get that particular Pokemon. So I'm probably actually going to stop the recording and I'm going to fast forward it into the time I encounter it. I have no idea when that's going to be. Could be, a minute. It could be 3 hours. But I'm invested. Please wish me luck.
Eventually.
I don't even think that was 10 minutes and I encountered a Feebas. And the thing is, in the past when I've done this, I've also encountered it in like not more than a half hour. So I'll show you exactly where this is in a second, but man, with all the Pokeballs, like we have to catch it in 10, I guess. So we're just gonna start chucking. Now, just like Magikarp, Feebas is only gonna know Splash. It's similarly useless, right? So why on earth would I catch one? Well, that will be revealed in the remainder of this episode, hopefully. This will probably be a shortened episode anyway, just because why? This is already an accomplishment. Okay. Is there any way... Okay, I guess I could use Confuse Ray on it. Now, what I don't know is if those 4 locations that are seemingly random, if they restart at 12 o'clock every day, or, some other aspect of time. My guess is 12 o'clock. So the thing is, it was 11:55 when I encountered the Feebas, and then I had to figure out a bunch of stuff with the recording because it was really echoey and stuff. I just restarted some stuff and it works now. Hopefully this is not very echoey, but now it is 12:03. Okay, so it's 12:03. If I fish again in the exact same location, I should not encounter a Feebas, statistically. Okay. Do I have any other Pokemon that could do anything else to it? Yes, I have a Popsqueak. I don't feel comfortable using it though. But, I mean, it's kind of close in level, right? What does Golbat know? Yeah, that's also not great. But, level 22. I'm being very careful, okay? Very. I really, truly... Yeah, that's 9 levels, but yeah, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. Can't risk it. Part of me is hesitant. I don't think it's only 4 areas. Okay. Our odds should gradually be improving here. By the way, I don't think I ever explained what a Premier Ball is. It's just a special commemorative Pokeball that you get after you collect like multiples of 10 Pokeballs from the Pokemart. Let's say I buy like 50, then you'll get a Premier Ball. Has the same catch rate as a regular Pokeball. Meet our newest team member, Feebas, the fish Pokemon. It has a height of 2 feet, surprisingly, 16 pounds. It is a shabby and ugly Pokemon. However, it is very hardy and can survive on little water. Let's see. Okay, I know the name now. Now, if you do encounter a Feebas, first of all, the area should be swimming with Feebas, like wherever you are. So, you should catch as many Feebas as possible, especially if you're into competitive battling, because Natures and Ivies and Eevees work at a certain rate, and you might screw up training one of your Feebases. Well, you don't want to do this entire process again, so that's why you're going to want to catch more. So, I should not encounter any Feebas in this area, but I'm going to keep fishing just to show you, just to prove it to you. But all I did was I just walked along, like, vertically, and you can imagine that didn't take very long. There it is. So, I'm glad that I caught it, like, just in the nick of time. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the Poke Center in Eterna City, and let's meet our new Pokemon. Alright, I lied. We're actually in Veilstone City, and you'll see why in just a little bit. Okay, so whatever ability that I had with Feebas is the one that I'm stuck with. Whatever nature it has, whatever IVs, whatever. Most of that stuff for a playthrough, not useful. In fact, hardly any of it's useful except its ability. But that is a general rule of thumb. Anytime that you're capturing a Pokemon, its ability or held items might be different. So maybe catch a couple of them. Okay, let's take a look at our Feebas. Now, you might be wondering why I named it Goatee. Actually, it's not pronounced Goatee. It's pronounced fish, right? The GH from the word rough, the O from the word women, and the TI from ambition. It's fish. I think that's a classic example of linguistic ambiguity, something that the linguists would say. Okay, now, let's talk Feebas. It's ugly. It's wimpy. Except, its speed is pretty extraordinary, actually, for level 13. Swift Swim boosts the Pokemon's speed in rain. It knows Splash. Now, why on earth would I capture such an ugly Pokemon? The fact that it's ugly kind of clues you into what we need to be doing. If you can max out its beauty stat and then level it up, it will evolve. The only way to increase its beauty stat, supposedly, is to feed it Poffins, right? So there's cool, toughness, smartness, cuteness, and beauty. And you have to feed it good Poffins, because after a certain level, its sheen will max out and it will no longer accept Poffins. So in Diamond and Pearl, this was a pain in the butt, because if you didn't make the right Poffins, or if you didn't have friends to like collaborate with you to like build higher level Poffins, you were done for. However, in the basement of Veilstone, which I'm showing you now for the first time ever, you're wondering why I didn't show you the basement in the episode where we went to the mall. I had this planned for a while, guys. You can purchase berries, so Poffin ingredients, or you can sell Poffins. Okay, so I don't know exactly which one we should get. I might have to do a little bit more research, but it should depend on what the Pokemon likes as well. Okay, so this Pokemon likes bitter food. And I forget which Poffins go with which stats, so I'm going to be right back while I fact check that. Okay, I'm back. Apparently dry Poffins are the ones that raise beauty, and since Feebas particularly likes bitter food, we want to feed it dry, bitter poffins. Okay, so let's see if they have any dry, bitter poffins. Dry, bitter poffin, there you go. And we're going to keep on buying these poffins. Doesn't really matter. We have over 250,000 Pokédollars. Okay, there we go. Now, let's just start raising its beauty stats, supposedly. We have a Poffin case for a reason. Notice that they are level 32. The Poffin we made, well, remember the first time we made a Poffin, and then I didn't know how to do it on an emulator, and then I got a level 2 Poffin. I'm pretty sure that bumped up to like a level 12 when I actually had an idea of how to make one. But level 32, you just can't beat that. So we're going to go ahead and feed it a dry, bitter Poffin. Okay, so it says it likes it bitter. Its sheen is at 0, so let's see what it does. Fish happily ate the Poffin. Yeah, so actually, you know, fairly significant. And if you look at its sheen... I didn't really see any changes to its sheen. Let's see. No, so no changes. I believe it's every 2 Poffins. And then the sheen bar goes up by 1. I don't even know what the word sheen even means. I think they just made it up. There we go. Okay, so you saw that. So we just have to keep on feeding it these dry, bitter Poffins until it's maxed out to our content. So I'm going to go and do that, and I'll check back with you in just a minute. Okay, so I eventually fed it Poffins to the point where it said nothing changed. So if you look at its stats now, beauty and smartness both increased to its max amount. And its sheen is almost getting full, which means we could still feed it more Poffins. And I don't know if it liking the Poffins increases its effectiveness. My guess is yes, otherwise why would it even have a preference? But we're going to go to Pastoria City and kind of prove what I was saying about the scarf. And by the way, even after you evolve a Pokemon, it's those particular stats will still remain the same. So it's really nice to know, because sometimes when Pokemon evolve, they are not the cutest. Howdy there. Let me examine your Pokemon to see if it's worthy of a scarf. I see. Your Feebas is looking good. I'd say it's pretty impressive. I'll tell you what, I'll give you this blue scarf. That's so much better than the last time when you said, well, I'm going to give it to you straight. It's not really good, but it's not really bad either. It's just so-so. You're so-so. Complimenting my Feebas. Now, all we have to do is raise it 1 level. And I could take it through a battle, but why bother? So we're going to use a rare candy. I have like 1 million of them. I have 7. That's like the same thing as 1 million, right? That's the kind of math I do. Okay. Let's do this. Fish is evolving? What? There's a Pokemon we have not seen before. It evolves into Milotic. Furthermore, we're still not done in Pastoria City because there is a man that will trade you heart scales in exchange for teaching moves that the Pokemon might have forgotten. Well, let's see if there are any. Okay, I guess we don't have any heart scales. That's fine. I might look into some moves that Milotic might know, but our first order of business is to teach it Surf. It is now going to be our Surf user, so we no longer technically need Finneon. I mean, it only knows Splash, right? I'm pretty sure the Splash stayed. Okay, now, I could just end the episode here, but I'm going to kind of introduce a mechanic that I've avoided until now because I didn't really have a good transition. So, let us perform our first Pokemon contest. Let me just show you kind of the rundown. I'm not even going to explain it. I'm just going to do it. Learn more by doing anyway. Now, you have to challenge the normal rank. You have to challenge like the lowest rank. we're going to go with Beauty. Any Pokemon is able to do the normal rank contest, but you must win a normal rank before your Pokemon is allowed entry into the Great Rank, so on for the Ultra, and then the Master Rank. I guess this was the first exploration with, like, changing clothes. We are about to get underway with this normal rank Pokemon Beauty contest! I'm Dexter, and I'll be serving as the MC and as one of the judges. The results will be announced at the end, so please bear with me. Let me introduce our contestants. Entry number 1 here is Wesley. Next is entry number 2, Heather. Entry number 3, Dakota. And last but not least, entry number 4, Alex. Yay! Yay! Okay, let's begin by having everyone get in proper attire for evaluations. Contestants, dress up your Pokemon for the visual competition. So those accessories that we've been getting, we have 60 seconds to match the theme. Each theme has certain accessories that will appeal to the judges more than others. Okay, so we only get 5 accessories in the normal rank. I don't think these backdrops actually do anything, but our theme is the created. No idea what that means. Honestly, I just use online guides to figure out which accessories to use. Okay, so maybe this is like created, so maybe a couple of these floofs, and then the shiny powder. But this is where the beauty, the coolness, all those stats, this is why you feed it Poffins. Okay, so I don't really know. I think I get one more. Ooh. What do you all think? Piste resistance. And you can just hit done whenever you're done. You don't need to wait for the timer to go out. And this is actually going to be pretty funny, because this is a normal rank competition, so not a lot of Poffins are fed to these AI Pokemon. 2 props. Maybe 3. So we got 2 hearts for that one. This Cherubi gets 1 heart. The Bidoof with 3 accessories gets 2 hearts. How many hearts do you think I'm gonna get? Like 9 hearts. Most of that is because of my beauty status. Okay, dance competition. If you have any sense of rhythm, you'll do fine. Okay, so I'm gonna stop talking so I can focus. Now it's our turn. That's it for the dance competition. Leading in points right now is Alex. Can anyone turn around? Blah, blah, blah. Acting competition. Okay, so we have to use moves. And each one of your moves, by the way, regardless of what it is, regardless of what Pokemon it is, each move has a certain appeal to the judges. And I just realized that I have 2 moves. Okay, fine. So obviously, beauty. Okay, I'm just gonna do it so you all can kind of see. Because there's kind of a lot to this. Okay, so I get a lot of hearts because apparently it had low voltage. You just kind of have to look at the descriptions of the moves. Each move will tell you how many hearts it essentially gives, or it'll tell you like some special effects or whatever. Or it'll say, well, if this happens, then you'll get this many hearts. Now, it said, oh no, it performed for the same judge already. So, if you were the only one that performed for a certain judge, you'll get a bonus at the end of a round that is going to be higher than people who share a judge. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Okay, so if 2 people perform for the same judge, each of them get 2 hearts. If 1 person performs for a judge, get 3 hearts. Okay, so I get 3 hearts here. And the other thing is you can't use moves twice in a row. I actually don't know what would happen if you only had 1 move. That's a really good question, actually. Okay, so we have to do this. Unfortunately, this if first performance, I should have taken that. Should have done that. That's okay. So I have to kind of predict like who people are gonna pick. So I'm gonna go with Jordan. He's kind of a hunk, right? Okay. Another thing is these voltage meters. So sometimes if you use a move that corresponds to the contest you're in, like since this is a beauty contest, if you use a beautiful move, their voltage is gonna go up. Now you'll notice that there are 5 of these little bars. If you were the Pokemon that fills the voltage up to the 5th and final bar, you get this maximum reward. It's a pretty big deal. It says Dizzy can perform the same move twice, so I guess some moves are like that. And then if you use, I kind of think of it as like every aspect, like beauty, has a corresponding trait that'll make the voltage go down because it's like completely opposite to that. Alright, so since I used a beauty move, Jordan's voltage went up. Okay, and Dexter is of course very impressed with me. So decent. I kind of tied with, 2 other contestants. Yeah, high score for low voltage. So, since I'm first, I get to kind of pick. Let me go with Kira. Alright. Now, I would say any of your Pokemon can win a normal rank contest. Honestly, it's really not that hard. But this is really going to come into play at the later contests, which I'm not going to do in this episode, but that is a possibility. A lot of people are just like, I'm never going to do contests in my Let's Play. They're horrible. I don't really see what's so awful about that. I mean, it is like a whole other thing. And for the people that kind of like fashion and showing off, like I think it's well done. If they had other components like this in other games, I think I mentioned, I don't really play anything after Gen 5, so I know like in other generations you can dress up your character for money and there are shops and whatnot. Are there contests in other Pokemon games? Because I think honestly it could be pretty successful. Or if there's an entire game centered around that. Because in the anime, like, battling was a component of Pokemon contests, so that might be something to look into. Well, I'm getting a whole 2 hearts from this. Make sure your Pokemon knows 4 moves. Pit performed growth. I like to think that the makers of these Pokemon games had some sort of connection between what the move actually did and how it performed in contests, but the truth is it was probably random. You could ask yourself questions like, well, what makes this a beautiful move? Just don't. Just kind of accept it for what it is. Now I know, like, none of the voltages went above 1 here, but in some of the higher level contests, like, you have to pick your judges very, very carefully. Because if a judge is at 3 voltages, you don't want to move. Because if you move and increase it to 4, another Pokemon will swoop in and max it out to 5. And I think you get 5 hearts if it's one of the supporting judges and 8 hearts if it's Dexter. Let's announce the results! And now it's time to announce the results of the individual categories. First, the results of the visual competition. Next, let's have the results of the dance competition. I won that one too. And finally, here are the results of the acting competition. I know I didn't win this. I won that one? But how? I got like a perfect score. I've never done that before. And don't expect to do it in the higher ranked contests either. Alright, now what's your reward for winning a Pokemon contest? Well, it's another mechanic of the game. You actually get 2 things. Let's recognize our winner, Alex's Fish! Our winner is awarded the Beauty Ribbon. Okay, so the ribbon goes on that particular Pokemon. Congratulations, here's your prize. And we get an item that I think corresponds to Beauty as well, so the blue beret. And that is Pokemon Contests, and of course there's a Jubilife reporter that we're going to ignore just like always. And there we go. So, we've introduced a lot of mechanics. We've introduced Poffins, Pokemon Contests, as well as ribbons, and by the way, the ribbons are right here. Okay, so the more ribbons that you get on Pokemon, the more that's going to help out with something in the post-game. So just kind of keep that in mind. I can tell you where to get a couple of ribbons. We've already encountered, I think, 2 people that hand out ribbons. But for now, we've done so much in this episode. In the next episode, we're going to train up Milotic a little bit. I might do a little bit of that off screen as well, but through Mount Coronet, most of it's rock and ground type, so water should phase no problem for training. So I'll see you there. Thanks so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.